Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. It is MagMongoSlade. I am on the air. We're going to talk about Clash at the Castle as well as Smackdown. If there's anything on Smackdown worth talking about before I get tired of doing this. So we're going to start with Clash at the Castle. Cody was body surfing at the Clash at the Castle kickoff show. And that's a very brave man to have so many Scots putting their hands all over him. Very brave. I mean, that can only go one way. It can only go one way. I hope he had nothing in his pockets. Let's see if he go body surfing in Detroit or Chicago. Let's see it work then. It might work in Scotland. I don't think it'll work in Memphis. I'm pretty sure it's not going to go over very well. Match 1, the WWE Championship. AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes. Their confrontation on SmackDown was an interesting one, with Cody Rhodes being accused of quitting WWE, quitting New Japan, quitting Ring of Honor, and quitting the company that he helped form because he's a quitter. This is what he does, and AJ Styles is going to make him quit. He said it took him 17 years to get to the WWE, while they were more than welcome to open their arms for Cody Rhodes. And he quit. Then Cody Rhodes said, well, yeah, I know when to walk away. I know when to walk away because I'm meant for something better. And I was right. But he says if he quit, he wouldn't be the WWE champ right now. And if he had quit, he wouldn't be where he is right now. He used to idolize AJ Styles. Now he sees that AJ Styles is not as honorable as he thought he was. He is a coward. So, going into this show, Cody Rhodes called AJ Styles coward. AJ Styles says, well, you quit everything else. You should quit this match too. They have one hell of a fight. You know, it was pretty damn good, if we being honest. The backstage portion was a little weird because they just basically did a U through the backstage area. They just went through, came around on the other side. And then you really didn't see anything when they went into the production, the gorilla area. Kind of started losing interest in the match when they broke out the handcuffs, because handcuffs are one of those things that are overused in weapons matches. Typically don't like to see the handcuffs coming out. And then, Cody, because there was so much slack on the handcuffs, Cody was able to go from him being handcuffed behind his back to pulling them to the front. He was whipped. They whipped each other with chairs, basically the same generic weapons they use in every match. There was some blood. A lot of people was like, oh, there's bleeding. Well, it was not like the razor or anything like that. It looked like it might have been a blood pack or something to that effect, because that blood surely dried up pretty quickly. It dried up quick. So it was not real blood. It might have been like red ketchup or something like that. It might have been like, red Kool-Aid or something to that effect that he smeared all over his face. Hell, if it was Kool-Aid, it might have stayed a little longer. I don't know what they used. It had to be like some Hollywood movie blood or whatever. Certainly wasn't real. AJ was taunting Mama Rhodes, who was outside the ring, who actually smacked AJ 3 times to no effect at all, except pissing him off, which was funny. One of the funnier spots of the match, AJ Styles is trying to do his springboard. He gets hit in the face with a chair that Cody threw at him. He then tumbles through the table, and that was a nice little spot. People kind of like that. And because AJ Styles was down, Cody Rhodes took the opportunity to unlock himself from the handcuffs, because the key was just laying about. Then the finish, Cody Rhodes actually handcuffs AJ Styles to the top rope. He starts whipping AJ with the chair, whipping him with the belt, all kinds of stuff. AJ is, defenseless because he doesn't have the key. Then he curls up in the corner, and Cody Rhodes goes and gets the stairs. And he's going to hit him with the metal stairs, and AJ Styles quits. He quits rather than get hit with the stairs. And mid-finish. I don't like the finish. I didn't like it. We've seen AJ Styles get hit with stairs before. Yes, he was handcuffed. He only had one arm, but he could easily turtle up and not take that full brunt. I didn't like this. I thought it was kind of weak for a finish to an I Quit match. Especially with a a guy the caliber of AJ Styles. It's for him to quit because he didn't want to get hit with some stairs. I'm like, I'm not a fan. And then, of course, because Cody is John Cena, he hit him anyway. Reminiscent of John Cena's Judgment Day I Quit match with JBL, where, I think he threatened to hit him with a muffler or something like that. And JBL quit, and then Cena hit him anyway. And if I remember correctly, it was similar in the match with Wade Barrett. Where Wade Barrett, I think, quit or tapped out or something. Then he still got buried in chairs. It's a very John Cena thing to do. And it's not really a babyface thing to do, though. But it's a John Cena thing to do. So the match, I think, was really good. I just didn't like the finish. And I also didn't really care for the handcuffs. I don't think it was better than their Backlash match. I would have preferred for them to just have another singles match. That would have been so much better. After the match, Cody Rhodes gets attacked by the Bloodline. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens makes the save. Randy Orton can't help himself. He took a sniff of that WWE Championship, got everybody thinking, ooh, what's next? Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know what's next. The Bloodline stuff, which from SmackDown really was not much of anything, considering Solo Sikoa beats Kevin Owens with some help from the other guys, and especially from Paul Heyman. And it's not really leading anywhere. I don't feel like we're going anywhere. We're kind of spinning our wheels with this Bloodline thing. But now Solo Sikoa is going to be involved with Cody Rhodes, and it seemed like he is the next in line for a title shot come Money in the Bank. There's been a lot of people saying they didn't really want Cody Rhodes to feud with Solo Sikoa. I think that eventually you do have to have the top babyface and the top heel to collide. And maybe Solo is ready. Who else was it there that's going to make him? Unless he's going to beat Randy Orton at some point, he's as high as he's going to go, and he's got to go ahead and take this L to Cody. He's not going to win it. Is Randy going to turn heel on Cody and try to take the belt? I think they'll probably try to do it friendly first, similar to the AJ Styles story where, except AJ was actually a heel. They'll probably do Randy and Cody, babyface versus babyface, and then have Randy turn heel afterwards to make the story a little bit more strong. But I don't really care. At this point, Cody needs something to sink his teeth into. The AJ Styles stuff was fine, but the finish to this match and, the John Cena stuff, the Mark Henry stuff, it feels rehashed. I think you've seen enough of this where you don't really see too much that's creative out of this. So I need them to really spice it up somehow. And I'm not sure how they're going to do it. But Money in the Bank needs to be a big one. The next couple of weeks needs to be big, if we're being honest. Match 2. Women's Tag Team titles. Believe it or not, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn defeated Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler and Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill to win the Women's Tag Team titles in a real head scratcher. So, before we get to the finish, Jade Cargill absolutely got destroyed online because she botched a couple of spots in this match. One, she botched the springboard. She got a hot tag. She was trying to springboard in and she fell down. Let's be honest. Should she be doing a springboard? Probably not. But she's done it before and it was fine. I've seen wrestlers, every high-flying wrestler you could think of, botch a springboard. I've seen so many of them. I've seen Rob Van Dam botch them. I've seen Rey Mysterio botch countless springboards. I've seen Sabu botch countless springboards. I've seen people botch springboards in every wrestling company. And I don't think anybody has ever had the guttural, visceral reaction for botching one move than Jade Cargill has gotten. And part of that is she turned her back to AEW and went to WWE. Like a lot of the WWE fans, they're just kind of like, hey, maybe you should stop doing that. The AEW fans are like, she sucks. Everything sucks. They trained her. They did all this stuff and she's still falling all over the place. It's like, man, I've seen Rey Mysterio 2002, 2003, years into his career, botching springboards. I've sat and watched Sabu botch too many springboards well into his career to sit here and give Jade Cargill too much shit about botching a springboard. All right. She fucked it up. We all saw it. There's no two ways about it. But it ain't a thing that she just sucks. It's just springboards are one of those things that you can't control. Some things happen. The ropes slip. You don't have a good grip, or whatever the case could be. It happens. The real issue we got here is her false tap out. She got put in a chokehold by Shayna Baszler. And it seemed like she was trying to motion for Shayna to lighten up. And she tapped Shayna on the arm. Now, the referee was behind Shayna, so she couldn't see it. But the camera is looking right at Jade, and she's tapping Shayna Baszler on the shoulder. And everybody's looking like she tapped out in front of the camera. Like, that's a big issue. I don't know how else she could have done it if she was, being strangled. If she's like, ease up. I don't know. But clearly, you don't tap out in front of the camera. Even if she was lucky the ref couldn't see it. Otherwise, the ref would have had to call it as a submission. The commentators are calling it a submission. Everybody fucking sees it. You can't say it didn't happen. Whatever. Very bizarre. Extremely bizarre. So, Jade Cargill, they're throwing her in the bin, even though she is slightly better than she used to be in AEW, but she's not much better. She's improving over time. She's just very confident, and maybe she's going a little far. She needs to pull it back a little bit. She's also improved her communication. There are some other things that she may have screwed up in this match, but those are the two major things that stood out. Now, the idea that we're going to put the belts on Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, who, by all rights, had no business even being in this match, if we're being honest. Now, it was pretty clear, if you look at the rest of the show, Drew didn't win the title, Piper Niven didn't win the title. They wanted to give Scotland something. So they were like, okay, Piper's not winning, Drew's not winning, nobody expects Alba Fire and Isla Dawn to win, so we're going to put the belts on them. They could always, give Bianca and Jade a rematch, and then they destroy them and take the belts back, which is what I expect. Or I expect that they put the belts on them because they want to put Jade and Bianca in the Money in the Bank match. That would be the only other thought that I would have. But putting the belts on these guys, probably not a good idea. It's a trash idea. I know Alba Fire, her mom passed away recently in a car accident. Incredibly sad. It's a hometown crowd. The sympathy's there. You have to resist hot shot mark booking. You really have to. And I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't even put him in this match. You could have put him on the pre-show and they could have won or something. Putting them in this match and then switch the titles. Now you've booked yourself into a corner where you have tag team champions that's over in Scotland, but you're not going to be in Scotland on Monday or on Friday or any other time, and nobody else cares about these people. They're not over. Nobody gives a damn about these people. And you didn't put the belts on them. Why? For one night hometown pop? Corny. Juvenile. Rookie mistake. Plus, Isla Dawn's speech impediment makes me laugh. When she was talking on SmackDown, I just was like, oh my God. I just talked to an attorney that had a similar speech impediment to her. And I was corpsing, trying not to laugh at him. Because it's pretty funny. It's not as bad as the other guys, though. The other guys, his thing was terrible. But Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, women's tag team champions, I ain't gonna complain. It is what it is. Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn defeats Chad Gable. They didn't pull the trigger on anything on this match. They didn't pull the trigger on Otis turning on Chad Gable. And they didn't put the belt on Chad Gable. So how many times is Chad Gable going to lose to Sami Zayn? How many times am I going to have to watch this match? Really? At this point, I don't care about this anymore. You overstayed your welcome. They teased 3 or 4 times that Otis was going to turn on Chad Gable in this match. They teased it 3 or 4 times. It's too much. Enough. All right? You're not going to you're going to do it eventually, but I'm not going to care. This should have been the time to do it, especially if you were going to beat Chad Gable. You should have had Otis attack him. Otis puts him down. Sami Zayn wins. We're at least done with half this story. But now the story is in no way different than it was on Monday. It's the same fucking thing. Otis and Maxine are still hanging out with Chad Gable. He's still not the Intercontinental Champion. This thing continues. You just kicking the ball down the road. That's all you're doing. This is not furthering the story. Sami Zayn is an incredibly boring Intercontinental Champion because he's been feuding with one person this entire time. It's been 2 months now. Enough. I don't care what happens to Chad Gable anymore. The idea, he's going to team up with the Creed brothers and everything's going to be hunky-dory then. Bro, they need to do that some other time. Get him out of this picture. There needs to be somebody else here. How do you even justify giving Chad Gable another match? What do you do unless he wins some kind of stupid-ass fatal 4-way or something like that, how do you justify him getting another match? He's already lost 3 times. And he lost like 2 or 3 times to Gunther. Enough of this. You're not going to do it. It's over. He needs to go away for a while and come back with the Creed brothers and start all over again. That's what he needs to do. He needs to walk away. But can you imagine? Because they announced shortly before the show that he had re-signed the contract. Do you think that they dangled this title over his head? Like, hey Chad, I'm thinking, Scotland, you, Intercontinental Champion, sounds like a good deal. As soon as he signs that contract, you know what? On second thought, it's not the right time. You're clearly not ready yet. Need a little bit more time. Creed brothers, Lil Green, let him work some main event stuff. Then we'll come back to you. After he's re-signed the contract, they changed the finish on him, clearly. Because why would he sign up to lose again to Sami Zayn? Sami Zayn, boring. I don't care what you do with this guy. At this point, he needs at least something different to do. At least something different to do. He needs to get out of this. The Intercontinental Championship needs to get away from this. It's too much. It's too much. Poor Otis. He's super over. But if you keep dangling this heel turn, this babyface turn rather, in people's faces, eventually they're not going to care anymore. I think I said this on Raw. There's only so many times you can tease this thing before people start yawning and just saying, we don't really care. Do it or don't do it. Shit or get off the pot. One or the other. Next. Piper Niven loses to Bayley. Bayley, who looks absolutely delicious in them pants that she was wearing on that kickoff show. Oh my God. And she had a birthday. Man, my goodness. I give her some birthday licks. You feel me? Auntie Pam. Jesus Christ. Okay. So Chelsea Green was ejected from the arena. She came back in a Rey Mysterio mask. Huge pop out of me for that. That was great. But Piper Niven takes a belly-to-belly off the top rope or off the second rope. Kicked out. Okay. She hits Bayley with her finisher, which is like a Michinoku driver. Bayley kicked out. I'm like, oh, okay. Then Bayley ends up winning the match with a crucifix bomb. I'm like, oh, brother. Look. Piper Niven had no business being in this match. She was hot-shotted into this spot because they're in Scotland. So she's going to go back to where she came from. And if we're being honest, if you were going to not have Drew win the title, then this should have been the title switch you should have done. Because who really gives a shit about Nia Jax versus Bayley for SummerSlam? I mean, really, who cares? You know, I just don't. I don't think anybody wants to see that. You had an opportunity to make a new star with King of the Ring, and you chose to go with Nia Jax. You could have made a new star during this entire build. Instead, you decided to hotshot Piper Niven into this spot rather than build her up naturally. And now Bayley's beat Piper Niven. We're back at square one, where there's nobody for Bayley to wrestle, unless she's going to wrestle Chelsea Green, who just lost to Naomi on SmackDown, if I remember correctly. So, who is there for her to wrestle? Mia Yim is a loser. Piper Niven is a loser. Chelsea Green is a loser. Who is she going to wrestle? I don't know. I don't have the answer to these questions. Tiffany Stratton, who you're not, utilizing at all, who wants to be the little sister to Nia Jax all of a sudden. I don't know, man. But this is one of those things where I'm not surprised at the result. Also not upset by it. I'm okay that, Piper Niven lost. Poor Bayley is saddled with this really garbage theme song that they've given her. The crowd still loves her, but, none of the aesthetics are really helping. So she feels mid-card as fuck. She doesn't feel like a top girl. And this is Triple H, who loves the horsewomen. And Bayley does not feel like she's a top of the card girl. She feels like she's a mid-carder. But that's Triple H for you. Main event of the evening, Damian Priest defeats Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, another hometown match, another big fat stinking L on his record. Man, how do they keep talking this guy into doing this? How do they keep talking him into doing this? And this is in his hometown. Literally in Glasgow. And he takes an L. The moment that 3 count happened, you could hear a fart in that arena. It was over. They were like, huh? What? That's it? No do-overs? Okay, so how did it occur? It had a pretty good match between the two of them. Hard-hitting big guy match. Damian Priest botch a springboard, gets his leg trapped in the ropes. Drew McIntyre was surprised, didn't quite know how to go forward with this thing, ended up, punching and kicking him, just trying to, get Damian Priest unhooked. And then he's like, I can't win the title like this. And he had to unhook Damian Priest so he could try to win the belt. And thankfully, Damian Priest didn't break his ankle or anything like that. At least I don't think he did. He worked the rest of the match seemingly fine with no limp or anything. Drew McIntyre kicked out of a Razor's Edge. I don't think I've ever seen a Razor's Edge get kicked out of so much as when Damian Priest uses it. Damian Priest does a second rope Hurricanrana, which was amazing. Drew McIntyre then basically no-sold it, got up, hit a Claymore, and that would have been a great finish. But Damian Priest kicked out of the Claymore, and I was like, oh my God, now we're just we're having fun now, huh? Referee gets bumped outside of the ring. McIntyre hits another Claymore. Another ref rolls into the ring. Some camera magic obscures who the referee is. The referee only counts 2. When the camera goes to the referee's face, we see it's old CM Punk. And the crowd is like, oh no. Oh no. McIntyre sees Punk. He goes after him. They start tussling in the corner, and Punk kicks Drew McIntyre between the goalposts, right in the good old ball sack, right in the old bag of haggis. South of heaven, the initial referee comes in. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre loses. The crowd doesn't even boo CM Punk. They're confused because they love Punk. Why would Punk do this? Because he hates Drew McIntyre, clearly. And Drew McIntyre, the hometown hero, bagpipes. The crowd is super hot. And he lost because he got kicked in the ball sack, the old bag of haggis. This is unreal. Unreal booking by Triple H. Very ballsy, though. Again, you got to resist Mark hotshot booking. But nobody would have lost anything if Drew McIntyre would have won this match. Nobody's really all that invested in Damian Priest, if we're being honest. Now, this win does not validate Damian Priest anyway because CM Punk helped. So if you thought Damian Priest was a paper champion because of the way he won the title, the way he's been defending it has not helped. So at this point, you do a good job of adding heat to Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. But I thought that perhaps you would have Drew win this title and then defend it against Punk at SummerSlam, which would have been probably the more sensible reaction. But I always called that Damian Priest would probably win with a little assistance from CM Punk, especially once the Judgment Day were banned from ringside. I figured that's what was going to happen. So now Drew McIntyre, CM Punk has all the heat in the world. They've been feuding since, February, maybe, and haven't had a match yet. Maybe Money in the Bank will be their first match. Or maybe they'll have a big match they'll save the match for SummerSlam. I don't know. But I'm not that upset that Drew McIntyre lost, but I'm very surprised that he lost. And I'm very surprised that he went with that. I was just surprised that he was like, "You're gonna beat me again in my hometown? I'm gonna keep flying over here in front of my family, looking like a loser." His brother had an absolute meltdown when he lost at WrestleMania. Could you imagine how many bars he's going to tear up now? He didn't have to fly over here this time. So he's probably in the bar, waist deep in Guinness. The bloody assholes, brother. They keep beating you. Why you let them do you like that? Him and Sheamus and all these guys just slapping Drew across the head. Like, you're an idiot. You let him book you like an idiot. And he does it like an idiot too, by the way. So that was Clash at the Castle. You put a mid show in front of a hot crowd. That seems to be Triple H's recipe for success. Make the show as mid as possible, but put it in front of a crowd that want to see it. And that seems to work out. All this talk about surprises, the only surprise was Alba Fire and Isla Dawn winning, which most people forgot about. As soon as the 3 count hit on Drew McIntyre, people was kind of like, oof, that was stupid. Now, for SmackDown, I'm going to hit some highlights on SmackDown that I didn't, have to hit during this show. And that is, they're still teasing the breakup of Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. They had DIY, specifically Johnny Gargano, talk about how well he knows Austin Theory, and he knows that Austin Theory is better than this. He's been proud of everything Austin Theory has done. He beat John Cena, but he's letting Grayson Waller use him, and he does not need him. He played the footage of Grayson Waller pulling Austin Theory in front of him, forcing him to take the bullet for him. And they're teasing that they're going to break up while they're still the tag team champions. I don't know if that's a smart thing to do. I don't know if that's a thing that they, feel like is going to work to make this team more interesting. I don't know if you just implode this team so that you can force DIY onto everybody, but I don't think it's going to work out. I really don't. But it might work out for Austin Theory. He is a good babyface. And if this is what it takes to get Austin Theory over again, then okay, fine. Grayson Waller is great too. He can be great on his own. I like them as a tag team, but they're not getting a lot of attention as a tag team. Andrade El Idolo. It is my destiny to be the WWE Speed Champion, because he won that title officially from Ricochet now. He also did a cameo on this show, along with Cedric Alexander and his tag team partner, whose name I can't remember, and Pretty Deadly, who are, for some reason, absent from this show. So they were in the crowd because they're celebrities. They're not like wrestlers or anything like that. You mean you can find a spot for them on the show? No, we can't actually. The only other thing worth really discussing is LA Knight was in Logan Paul's pool on his cell phone, just chilling. Apparently he invaded his home space, lied and said that he was Logan Paul's friend from LA, and then just got in his pool in Puerto Rico, nowhere near Scotland, which was probably better for his psyche. Logan Paul comes in and he's like, "Bro, what are you doing? You got to get out of my pool. And LA Knight's like, yeah, I'll get out of your pool. You got to get out of my pool, man. What are you doing? So there was no punches thrown. He didn't shove Logan Paul into the pool. They didn't fight in the pool. They didn't do anything. He just popped up and was like, get out of my pool, man. And Logan, LA Knight was like, okay, I'll get out of your pool, whatever. A little security guy came over to LA Knight and was like, come on, man, you got to go. And LA Knight didn't grab him and throw him into the pool. He didn't punch him out or nothing. Just, he showed up at his house and enjoyed his pool for about 10 minutes. Real crazy stuff there. But I like the pull-up nature of LA Knight. That, you know, if you're trying to get away from him, he coming to you. He pulled up on AJ Styles. Now he's pulling up on Logan Paul. I like that. And he demanded that Logan Paul show up in Chicago. To which Logan Paul said he will be there. So we'll see. I think that's on SmackDown next week. So that's it from SmackDown June the 14th and Clash at the Castle at June the 15th. Very mediocre shows put in front of incredibly hot crowds. These people paid 218 euros on average. 11,000 people in the building. It looked great at the very least. It looked packed. The crowd hot from beginning to end. But I was not impressed by too much of anything that I saw on this show. So let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
MagMongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.